Hey guys, so welcome back. So here I am installing the Polo 6N2 rear brakes on another Corrado, and I gotta ask, how hard is it to remove that stub axle, especially if there's a lot of rust? So in this video we're gonna find out what it's really like when it's rusty, and how do I actually get the stub axle off when all the bolts are rusted through. Keep watching to the end of the video where I give a list of the specs of all the parts you will need. This part is fun of working on old cars. So I want to change the rear disc, because it's rusty and I have a brand new disc to be put onto it. So, first job obviously is just to remove the caliper. That was easy enough, bit rusty but it's okay. So now to remove the carrier so I can remove the rear brakes. And this nut here is completely rounded off, and the one at the bottom I can't even get the little Allen key into because it's also incredibly rusty that it just won't go in at all. Like, you just can't even get your finger into it because it's so jammed with rust or dirt. I don't know what it is. This in here you can get into it, but there isn't a hole. I'm going to turn it. So, if you're in this position, what would you do? Well, time to pull out the oxyacetylene, I guess. We've gotten some heat now down into it. Oh, that's after gone out. Right, there is some heat into that bolt, so let's try and do the bolt now. And now see if it'll be able to be released. Okay, I have the vice grip now on the bolt. It's moving. That's great. That's now one bolt starting to loosen. Now do the second one and then we can take out the carrier. Okay, it's not coming up in camera, but that bolt was actually red hot. So now let's try and do that one, and then we can get the caliper off, or the carrier off. And ta-da! It's finally off! So there's the carrier and two very rusty bolts. So that's how it looks inside. So next job is to knock out this, pull the whole lot off, and then we're going to change the stub axle. Split pin fake castle nut and the actual nut, now all removed. Give it a wiggle. And out comes the bearing. Stronger wiggle. And off comes the rear disc. Okay, now the real fun begins. How am I meant to get these four nuts to hold on this rear stub axle off? I don't think they're going to come off with a spanner or even the impact gun. I think the only solution is to redden them, get them red hot, and then slowly try to walk them forwards and backwards and get them out. I have four of them to do, unfortunately. That sensor there for the ABS, it's unlikely it's going to survive the heat, but I have a spare one anyway. Okay, so to get the rear stub axle off, I've given everything a hammer, so just knocked all the rust off it. If you're watching me when I'm gassing it and you hear these little pops or explosions, what it is actually the moisture inside the rust exploding. So that's why I knocked all the rust off, so it's all lovely and clean. I put a socket onto this and hammered it on, tried with the impact, and that's not even budging. So if that's not budging, I don't think any of the others are going to be moving anytime soon either. So yeah, I think the only solution is going to be gas it, because it looks like there's nearly a crack forming, but that's only where the socket was hammered onto it. So what I'm going to do is redden it with the gas so it's red hot, then put the socket back onto it, and then slowly, hopefully, it'll back out. I might have to go forward, backwards, forwards, backwards, and wind it out, but that's what I'm going to try and do. Oh, if you don't think there's that much rust, that's all the rust so far that's fallen off it. So yeah, it's a lot of rust. Okay, let's give it a go with the gas. So what we're going to do is redden the bolts, and by redden it means we're going to put the gas onto it. There's a blue flame inside the red hot flame, and that's even hotter again, so we're going to redden or heat up the bolts just so they're cherry red, but just before they go molten. And obviously then the blue flame can actually cut through the bolt, so we don't want to do that, or we're going to try and avoid doing that. So we're just going to stay heating the bolt just so the heat will then penetrate down to the base of the bolt, which will go through the threads and actually will crack the rust seal between it and the rear axle. So the rust will actually break off, but we're trying to add heat in, try to make one expand against the other, and then as they cool, they'll contract, and that will break the rust seal as well. As you can see, I'm taking away the heat every so often just to stop the top of the bolt from actually melting off with the heat. Well, damn it anyway, I sheared off 2 bolts. So the top one wasn't too bad, it sheared off the top, but using a bit of heat I was able to slowly walk it out. But the bottom one gave me all the trouble, so it was so rusted from behind it wouldn't come back out. So the only solution was literally to cut off the top, drill it out, and then slowly keep threading it in till it came all the way out at this side. So that's it there now, out. Right, that's those 2 done. So now I have all 4 of them out and I've cleaned them out with a tap. So now to get ready to install the new hub. And yes, we are using the 6N2 GTI Polo rear hubs, or rear stub axles. So that's what's going on next. The first job now is to install the ABS sensor. So let's install that first. So yes, obviously I've covered everything in copper grease, and now after installing my nut, and that's my ABS sensor now on my stub axle. You can see just here there is a cutout, so that allows the ABS sensor just to sit in there, so the back of the sensor just matches in, and then all the bolt holes will line up. Okay, now inside the car we're going to release the ABS wire. To get to this ABS wire, or the plug just here, it's in the back seat, and you have to release the back seats. So there's a double hook, so there's a hook at this side and there's a hook at this side. The way you do it is you push firmly back, pull up a little bit, and then pull it forward and then up, and that should release the base of the seat. Here we have the plug. Just a matter of doing the plug. Now we just push the grommet back and push the wire then back through the hole. And now our new ABS wire will come up this way and join back into the plug. So now let's install the stub axle onto the rear axle. So obviously, as all my bolts were damaged, I've got replacement ones, and these are 12.9 in hardness, so they shouldn't break. Off camera I installed the hub onto the disc using a little hex bolt. So now we're just going to slide the whole lot onto the hub. That's how it looks. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, next install the carrier. I did have to buy new bolts, and they're 10mm longer than standard. Okay, and that's now the brakes now on. So as you can guess, I'm using the original brakes, but the disc is actually a slightly bigger diameter. So the original was 226 and this is 230. So it's 4mm bigger, but on a radius it's actually only 2mm bigger, because obviously it's 2mm and 2mm down here, so that's 4mm across. So there's actually very, very little in difference. And I think if you looked at the Polo, it's the exact same pads. So the pads are actually the same size. So it's actually the same caliper and everything. So it won't make any difference whether you use the original caliper or you get upgraded calipers. I'm using the original ones. They are steel on steel. If you got Mark IV, it's an aluminium frame with a steel piston, and although it's less likely to rust, they say that there's less likely of the piston and the aluminium rusting, but the aluminium oxidizes, so it still has rust issues, but just less. The wheel offset will also be the exact same as the original. Now let's tighten up the nut, and then we're pretty much finished. And in we go. Done. Perfect. And that's now Polo 6N2 brakes on the Corrado.